It's pretty late here and I'm kind of tired, but I couldn't wait to do this in like the daytime. But I was watching Uncut Gems a while ago, I want to say a few weeks ago. One of the most stressful movies I've seen in a while, by the way. And a commercial popped up for Frosted Flakes at that time. I didn't really think much of it, but a couple days later, I want to say, I had a dream about the scene where Howard gets beat up and thrown in his trunk. Except it wasn't Howard. It was, for some reason, Tony the Tiger. That sounds like a furry's wet dream now that I say it out loud. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I remade the Uncut Gems poster, but with Tony the Tiger instead. This is probably the dumbest idea I've had in a while. Subscribe though. Honestly, this was a pretty simple project. There are only two things that I really had to worry about: the poster's typeface and drawing Tony the Tiger. Both things not really difficult. First, I looked up the typeface, or font if you want to call it that, just to have it on hand, and like I said, really easy to find. And it's free. Next was drawing Tony, and I did what I always do: collect references. You know, I'm kind of surprised by how mild this is. I was expecting, I don't know, something worse. What if I do this? Fan art. There we go. Okay, this is what I was expecting. Don't scroll down. Using non-debaucherous images for my study, Tony's head consists of a small square that holds his oval eyes and teardrop ears, and a large triangle that holds his nose, mouth, and most of his stripes. Conveniently, all of them are also triangular in shape, so replicating it really wasn't that hard. At first, I was going to do something a little different in terms of pose and composition compared to the actual Uncut Gems poster, but I feel like it would be a lot funnier to draw him like verbatim, as close to the official as possible at least. I'd say the trickiest part was drawing the glasses. I didn't know how to actually attach the things onto his actual face with the handles, so I just drew the specs. My favorite thing about this is actually the title. All I did was type out Frosted Flakes and Tony's name, but the text holds so much weight in my opinion. One last thing I did to emulate the poster was changing the color of the lines to match the background. The official poster is mostly black and off-white, which is something that I didn't do. But the most impactful thing about the color choice was Adam Sandler's face bleeding into the background. So that's what I wanted to do with Tony, except instead of black, it's blue because, well, duh. It took roughly an hour to make it, maybe even less. All in all, it was just a quick little idea that I felt like pursuing because why not? Just a silly little thing to just get out of my system. But wait, there's more. This is awesome. As funny as this drawing is, I didn't really feel like I was accomplishing anything meaningful, like I didn't push myself. Not that there's anything wrong with like a fun doodle or anything, obviously, but I just felt like, at least for this idea, I could have done more. And that's when I stumbled upon this alternative Uncut Gems poster by Akiko Sterenberger. I hope I said that name right. Seeing this poster actually reminded me of this one school assignment I had to illustrate a DVD interior and exterior for the Criterion collection. They were apparently supposed to pick up an entry that was best to actually use in the collection and even compensate us, but I never heard from them even once, and I thought my entry was pretty good. But that has nothing to do with nothing, so moving on. Where the first poster idea was pretty much a quick doodle, I knew trying to mimic this one was going to be way more involved. And since this is obviously painted, I was also going to use this second go around as an excuse to practice my painting. I'm still not the best at it, but I feel like I'm at least a little bit more confident trying to paint ever since I started drawing in the Marvel Rival style. In addition to painting, I also forewent Tony's regular cartoon design and drew an actual realistic tiger and gave myself even more of a challenge when painting. But besides that, I kept the same pose, at least relatively. It's not 3/4 angle, it's more like Tony is facing forward this time, and that's mostly because I was focusing on just drawing a decent tiger that happened to be front facing, and I just ended up adding a hand. I also forgot in the first poster to add rings like how Howard has, so I made sure to do that here and also just make the jewelry way more detailed. Tony's rendering started off pretty slow with a lot of trial and error. Overblending was a pretty big problem, which led to tiny little individual strokes, which could have been interesting, but it wasn't purposeful, so it just looked like a big mess. Another annoying thing I did was merge both the line layer and the color layers together. I spent way more time cleaning up the lines than anything, and now I know for the future to not do that. On the bright side, I ended up making a brand new brush that worked pretty well with the method I was using. I mainly tried to follow the Marvel Rivals way with cel shading and that posterization feel that I mentioned in my very first Rivals video, but I also wanted there to be some sort of blending here and there. I believe the alternative poster was done traditionally, and if that's true, the gem-shaped, let's say, reflection of Howard's face is even more impressive. Instead of a gem for mine, I made a reflection of a cornflake, or at least I tried to. It's way less impressive technique-wise because I used this cool little feature called a stamp to basically clone the thing that's already drawn, basically meaning I didn't have to repaint every little section. But forming the cornflake was still pretty fun. As for the text, I noticed that it's different from the original poster, and after, again, another very simple Google search, I definitely still used the free font, but I modified it just a little bit by squishing it vertically. In my design classes, that was considered taboo, but I don't remember the reason why, nor do I care to right now. And instead of Tony the Tiger, I shortened it to Tony T. Partially because the text alignment just looks better, but mostly because I think it'd be a good name for a degenerate, gambling, addicted tiger. But that's just me. Now, this poster took about 4 to 5 hours to complete because of actual challenges with the painting and orienting the flake design and so on and so forth. If I had to edit this a little bit, I would probably cut back on some of the reflection pieces and maybe just simplify some other parts of the painting. But in general, I'm actually pretty satisfied with how it came out, and this time around I felt like I actually got something out of it. If it weren't for Sternberger's poster, I don't think I would have even made this video, to be honest. So I'm glad I found it, and I'm also glad that you made it all the way to the end. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this very sleepy voiceover, and until next time, bye.